Today's coin might be sitting in your pocket right now, worth just 10 cents to most people. But to the right collector, certain 1991 dimes are commanding astronomical prices that will shock you. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the exact features that make some 1,991 dimes worth hundreds of thousands of dollars and show you precisely what to look for in your own change. The most valuable example recently sold for over $150,000 at auction, and the best part? These rare gems are still in circulation. The 1991 Roosevelt dime holds a special place in American coinage history. When the U.S. Mint struck these coins back in 1991, they had no idea that some of their minor production errors would create numismatic treasures worth more than luxury cars. Originally designed to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt and his fight against polio, these dimes have become something far more valuable than their intended 10-cent face value. Let's start with what makes the 1991 dime truly extraordinary. On the front, you'll see Roosevelt's distinguished profile, with "Liberty" inscribed along the left edge and "In God We Trust" arcing above. But here's where it gets interesting. Some 1991 dimes show distinct doubling in these inscriptions, creating what collectors call a double die error. These aren't just minor variations. We're talking about clearly visible doubling that can increase the coin's value by thousands. The reverse side features the iconic Torch of Liberty, flanked by olive and oak branches. While this design appears on millions of dimes, certain 1991 specimens show dramatic strike errors that make them incredibly valuable. I'll explain exactly what these errors look like in just a moment, but first, let me tell you about the most valuable 1991 dime ever discovered. In 2018, a collector in Ohio found what appeared to be a normal 1991 Philadelphia dime in his pocket change. But upon closer inspection, this coin had something extraordinary: a complete missing clad layer, exposing its copper core. This error occurred when the outer layer of copper-nickel failed to bond during minting, creating a unique specimen that sold for an astounding $158,625 at auction. And here's the thing, there could be more out there. Now, let's talk about what makes these coins so valuable. The 1991 dime was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. While Philadelphia and Denver each produced over 1.1 billion dimes that year, certain manufacturing errors created rarities that collectors desperately seek. The first major error to look for is the missing clad layer. These coins appear coppery, similar to a penny, instead of the usual silver color. If you find one, you're looking at a potential 5 or 6-figure value. But there's more. Some 1991 dimes were struck off-center, creating coins where the design isn't properly centered. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Here's where it gets really interesting. Some 1991 dimes show what experts call weak strikes. These occur when the dies aren't properly aligned during minting, resulting in fuzzy or incomplete details. While this might sound like a defect that would decrease value, these errors can actually make the coin worth thousands to the right collector. But perhaps the most fascinating error of all is the no mint mark variety from Philadelphia. While Philadelphia dimes typically carry a P mint mark, a small number were struck without any mint mark at all. These rare errors have sold for upwards of $50,000 in pristine condition. And yes, they're still out there, possibly in your coin jar right now. Let's break down exactly what you should look for when examining your 1991 dimes. First, check the color. If it's copper instead of silver, you might have hit the jackpot. Next, examine the mint mark location just above the date. If it's missing or doubled, you could be holding something special. Finally, look closely at all the lettering. Any signs of doubling could indicate a valuable double die error. The condition of your coin matters tremendously. A regular 1991 dime in circulated condition might be worth 10 to 25 cents. But in uncirculated condition, graded MS, 67 or higher, even normal specimens can command $50 or more. Error coins in pristine condition? That's when we start talking about serious money. Now, you might be wondering why these errors are so valuable. It's simple. Rarity drives value in the coin collecting world, and these errors are incredibly scarce. Out of the more than 2.2 billion dimes minted in 1991, only a tiny fraction contain these valuable errors. That scarcity, combined with growing collector demand, has driven prices to astronomical levels. here's something most people don't know. The 1991 dime errors are still being discovered today. Just last year, a collector found a dramatic off-center strike 1991 dime in a roll from his bank. That coin, which cost him 10 cents, sold for over $12,000 at auction. These discoveries prove that valuable specimens are still in circulation, waiting to be found by sharp-eyed collectors. But before you start searching through your change, let me warn you about counterfeits. The high values of these error coins have attracted fraudsters who create fake errors. I'll share 3 foolproof ways to authenticate your finds. First, use a strong magnifying glass to examine the reading on the edge. Genuine dimes have exactly 118 reads, and counterfeiters rarely get this detail right. Second, check the weight. Authentic 1991 dimes should weigh exactly 2.268 grams. Finally, look for signs of artificial manipulation. Genuine errors show no tool marks or signs of tampering. If you think you've found a valuable 1991 dime, here's exactly what to do. First, handle it carefully. Use cotton gloves or hold it by the edges. Never clean the coin. This can dramatically reduce its value. Document your find with clear, well-lit photographs. Then, consider having it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC, the 2 most respected grading services in numismatics. Where should you look for these valuable dimes? Start with your own collection and change. Bankrolls can be excellent sources. Many collectors have found valuable errors this way. Estate sales and coin shows can also yield discoveries, but remember, the best finds often come from unexpected places. The market for 1991 error dimes continues to strengthen. Just in the past 5 years, prices for major errors have increased by an average of 300%. Experts predict this trend will continue as more collectors recognize the historical significance and rarity of these pieces. What makes this opportunity so exciting is that anyone can participate. You don't need special equipment or expertise to start looking, just knowledge of what to look for and a bit of patience. Every time you receive change or open a roll of dimes, you could be moments away from a life-changing discovery. Remember that $158,625 missing clad layer dime? It was found in ordinary pocket change. The collector who discovered it almost spent it on coffee before noticing something wasn't quite right. Stories like this prove that incredible finds are still possible, and the next major discovery could be yours. Take action now. Start examining your dimes carefully. Look for the errors we've discussed, and remember that patience and persistence are key. The next time you find a 1991 dime, don't just toss it aside. Take a closer look. You might be holding a numismatic treasure worth far more than its face value. Like this video for more fascinating coin discoveries, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Next week, we'll reveal why certain Lincoln pennies are selling for over $100,000, and yes, they're still in circulation too. Until then, happy hunting! Hidden beneath the surface of what seems like an ordinary piece of pocket change lies an extraordinary story of American craftsmanship, historical significance, and potentially immense value. The 1986 USA dime, a coin that could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, sitting in your coin jar right now. On the morning of January 2nd, 1986, the United States Mint began producing what would become one of the most intriguing coins in modern American history. While millions of Americans went about their daily lives, unaware of the treasures being created, skilled craftsmen were carefully striking these small but significant pieces of currency that would later captivate collectors worldwide. The Roosevelt dime, introduced in 1946 to honor the late President Franklin D. Roosevelt, took on special significance in 1986. Against the backdrop of America's economic renaissance under President Reagan, these dimes emerged from the mint with subtle variations and rare errors that would make certain specimens worth astronomical sums today. But before we reveal the shocking values of these rare variants, let's explore the artistry that makes this coin truly special. The obverse features Roosevelt's distinguished profile, masterfully crafted by John R. Sinnock. Every detail, from the curve of Roosevelt's jaw to the subtle lines in his hair, was meticulously rendered. The reverse showcases an elegant composition of American symbolism, a torch representing liberty, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace, and an oak branch representing strength and independence. Now, here's where things get interesting. While most 1986 dimes were struck to precise specifications, 17.9 millimeters in diameter and 2.27 grams of copper-nickel clad composition, a handful emerged with fascinating irregularities that send collectors into a frenzy. These aren't just minor variations. They're the kind of errors that can turn a 10-cent piece into a five-figure windfall. Take, for instance, the legendary missing mint mark variety. In a rare manufacturing anomaly, some 1986 dimes left the Philadelphia Mint without their distinctive P marking. These elusive pieces have sold for staggering amounts at auction, with the finest examples commanding prices that would make most luxury car buyers think twice. But that's just the beginning. The real treasure lies in the double die variants. Coins struck multiple times slightly off-center, creating a ghostly double image visible under magnification. These specimens are so rare that their discovery often makes headlines in numismatic circles, with serious collectors willing to pay astronomical sums to add one to their collection. Perhaps the most fascinating error of all is the clipped planchet variety. Through a quirk in the minting process, some 1986 dimes were struck on irregularly shaped blanks, resulting in coins missing small sections of their circumference. While this might sound like a defect that would decrease value, the opposite is true. These imperfect pieces can command prices that would fund a college education. Now, you might be wondering, how can I tell if I have one of these valuable variants? The key lies in the details. Under proper lighting and magnification, authentic error coins reveal their secrets. The missing mint mark variety shows no trace of the P where it should appear, while double dies display subtle but distinct doubling in the lettering and Roosevelt's profile. But beware, the high value of these coins has attracted counterfeiters. Authentic 1986 dimes have a distinct ring when tapped against another coin, and the copper-nickel cladding creates a specific color that's difficult to replicate. The reading along the edge should be precise and evenly spaced, with exactly 118 ridges, a detail often overlooked by forgers. The value of these coins isn't just in their rarity or their errors, it's in their preservation. A 1986 dime in pristine, uncirculated condition can be worth significantly more than one that's been in circulation. The highest grades, designated MS 70 by professional grading services, represent perfect specimens, and their values can reach levels that would make even seasoned collectors catch their breath. The proof versions, struck at the San Francisco Mint, tell another story altogether. These specially produced coins, with their mirror-like fields and frosted designs, were meant for collectors from the start. But even among these premium pieces, some stand out. The cameo and deep cameo variants, with their striking contrast between the mirrored background and frosted relief, can command prices that rival some luxury automobiles. What makes the 1986 dime particularly intriguing is its historical context. During the mid-1980s, America was experiencing an economic resurgence. The dollar was strong, technology was advancing rapidly, and the nation was optimistic about its future. These dimes, minted during this pivotal time, capture a moment in American history when anything seemed possible. But here's the most exciting part. These valuable variants are still out there, waiting to be discovered. Every year, collectors find new specimens in old coin collections, forgotten penny jars, and even in everyday circulation. The next million-dollar dime could be sitting in your pocket right now, mixed in with ordinary change. The key to preserving these potential treasures is proper handling and storage. Never clean your coins. The original patina is crucial to their value. Store them in appropriate holders, away from extreme temperatures and humidity. Even the oils from your fingers can potentially damage a coin's surface, significantly impacting its value. As we conclude our journey through the fascinating world of the 1986 dime, remember that numismatics isn't just about monetary value. It's about preserving pieces of history. These small metal discs tell stories of American craftsmanship, economic evolution, and the incredible attention to detail that went into every strike of the mint's press. Take a moment today to examine your coins more closely. That 1986 dime in your collection might just be one of the rare variants we've discussed. And if you find something unusual, don't hesitate to have it professionally evaluated. After all, the next great numismatic discovery could be sitting in your hands right now. The world of coin collecting is full of surprises, and the 1986 dime stands as a testament to the incredible value that can be hidden in plain sight. So keep searching, keep learning, and most importantly, keep collecting. Because in the end, every coin tells a story, and some of those stories could be worth a fortune. A simple dime from 1996 in your pocket right now could be worth thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Some of these rare coins have sold for jaw-dropping amounts at auctions, making headlines in the collector's world. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the exact markers, errors, and variations that could turn your ordinary dime into a numismatic gold mine. And stick around until the end, because I'll share one incredibly rare variation that most collectors don't even know exists. The story of the 1996 dime is fascinating, and it starts with its namesake, President Franklin D. Roosevelt. In 1946, just after Roosevelt's death, the U.S. Mint honored his legacy by placing his portrait on the dime, a fitting tribute to a president who championed the March of Dimes campaign against polio. But 1996 wasn't just any year for this coin. It marked the 50th anniversary of the Roosevelt dime, and the Mint had some special plans in store. Now, let's look at what makes these coins so valuable. On the front, you'll see Roosevelt's distinguished profile, with Liberty inscribed on the left and In God We Trust beneath his chin. The year 1996 sits at the bottom, and here's where it gets interesting. The mint mark appears just above the date. But not all mint marks are created equal, and I'll explain why this tiny letter could mean the difference between 10 cents and $10,000. The reverse side tells its own story of American values. A torch stands proudly in the center, flanked by an olive branch and an oak branch, symbols of peace and strength. The inscriptions read, United States of America, along the top, E pluribus unum, in the middle, and one dime, at the bottom. But don't let these common features fool you. Some of the most valuable specimens have subtle variations that most people miss completely. Speaking of variations, this is where the real money comes in. The 1996 dime was minted in 4 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco, and, most importantly, West Point. The Philadelphia Mint used a P mark, Denver used D, and San Francisco used S for their proof editions. But the Holy Grail? That's the West Point Mint Mark W. These W-mark dimes were only available in special mint sets, making them incredibly rare and valuable. Some pristine examples have sold for astronomical amounts at auction. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Some 1,996 dimes have errors that make them worth small fortunes. I'm talking about off-center strikes, where the design isn't perfectly centered on the coin. The more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin becomes. Some collectors have paid tens of thousands for these unique pieces. And that's not all. There are double-die errors, where the design appears slightly doubled, especially in the lettering or Roosevelt's features. These errors are so subtle that you might need a magnifying glass to spot them, but they can increase the value exponentially. One particularly rare double-die error recently sold for an amount that would make your jaw drop, but I'm saving that revelation for later. Then there are the clipped planchet errors, where pieces of the coin are missing due to improper cutting during the minting process. These imperfections, which might look like mistakes to the untrained eye, are actually treasure maps for serious collectors. Some of these error coins have sold for prices that could buy a luxury car. But perhaps the most valuable variation is the missing clad layer error. You see, these dimes should have a copper core with a nickel coating. Sometimes, though, the nickel coating is missing, exposing the copper underneath. These rare specimens are like finding a unicorn in the coin collecting world, and their value reflects their rarity. Now, let's talk numbers. While a regular 1996 dime in circulation is worth its face value of 10 cents, uncirculated specimens in gem condition, MS 65, can fetch anywhere from $3 to $5. But that's just the beginning. The 1996 S-proof dimes in perfect condition, PR 69 or PR 70, can sell for $10 to $30. And remember those West Point dimes I mentioned? Even in basic mint condition, they're worth $20 to $1.50. But here's where things get really exciting. Those error coins I talked about? The off-center strikes can sell for hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars. Double die varieties have been known to fetch even more. And if you're lucky enough to find one with a missing clad layer, you're looking at potentially life-changing money. To identify these valuable variations, you'll need a few tools. A good magnifying glass is essential. You're looking for doubling in the letters and Roosevelt's features. Check the mint mark carefully. Remember that W mark could mean you've hit the jackpot. And examine the edge. Any irregularities could indicate a valuable error. The grading scale for these coins runs from good G4 to mint state, MS 70. A heavily worn coin might only be G4, while a perfect, uncirculated specimen could reach MS 70. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC can authenticate and grade your coins, often increasing their value significantly. But here's the most incredible part, and I've saved this for last. There's an ultra-rare variety of the 1996 dime that combines multiple errors, an off-center strike with a missing clad layer and a double die obverse. Only a handful of these coins are known to exist, and their value? Let's just say if you find one, you might want to sit down before you hear the price. The 1996 dime represents more than just currency. It's a piece of American history, a tribute to one of our greatest presidents, and potentially a small fortune sitting in your pocket. Over 2.5 billion dimes were minted that year, but only a tiny fraction possess the characteristics that make them valuable. The question is, could you be holding one of these rare treasures? Before you go, here's a quick tip. Start checking your change, especially any 1996 dimes. Look for the markers we discussed, mint marks, errors, and unusual features. And remember, even if you don't find a $1,000,000 coin, you're holding a piece of American history in your hands. If you found this information valuable, make sure to like and subscribe for more insights into rare coins and their hidden values. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare 1996 dime. I'd love to hear your story. And stay tuned for next week's video, where I'll reveal another coin that might be worth more than your car. Remember, in the world of coin collecting, sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight. Happy hunting!